What's going on, everyone? In today's video, we'll be tearing down the D15 B7 and seeing the damage that 12 psi caused on 200,000 mile internals. Let's get started. What's going on, everyone? So in today's video, I'll be pulling the D15 B7 out. In a previous data logging session that I was recording for you guys, ended up blowing the piston rings out of a couple cylinders, or something happened. We put a new head gasket on it, tried to fire it up, and it ended up not being a head gasket problem. I thought maybe the head gasket had an issue because it ran like low compression and it smoked horribly. So I'm going to attach some videos real quick of that happening. The reason I ran it to this spot is because there's no air leaks from this forward. I do have a couple small exhaust leaks which would throw the air-fuel ratios off. So it's really important to make sure your air fuels are reading properly. So once I get the tuning aspect done, I will be putting a bung lower down so that this sensor will be out of the way. I'll still have the AC. So AC will be going back in for sure. It's just temporarily out. Nothing so nice. He's doing some remote tuning data logging right now, but I'll go check his setup out. D18 C1. I said it was a C5. It's a C1. My bad. Has a pretty decent setup to it. It's pretty quick. He's just getting all the fine tuning done. Getting all the remote tuning done right now, but yeah, it's pretty nice. He needs a paint job soon, but he's more worried about getting the motor dialed in. It's all forged internals and stuff, so pretty quick, pretty nice. Just figured you guys like to see how the progress of this is turning out. I showed it once before in my video, in one of my older videos, but I'm gonna let him get to his tuning and get back to start tuning my car. Alright, here we go. That was a little bit rich. Woo! Got some smoke on that run. So far I can't see anything. No oil leaking up front. We definitely got some blow-by going on, so boost is leaking into the crankcase somewhere. But as you can see, it definitely smoked like a freight train after doing the data log run. So we thought the turbo was bad. So I ended up buying a GT30 twin scroll turbo, a bigger turbo. So I'm going to have to ditch the AC, but I'm going to try my hardest to keep the AC in. But if I can't, the AC is just going to have to go. So basically what I'm doing today, pulling the old engine out. I'm going to do it by hand because people were always saying that I couldn't do it by hand. So I'm doing it just because they said I couldn't. Kind of like, oh yeah, hold my beer type situation. So I'm going to show you how I pull it out basically. And then we will put the D16 Y7 that I previously pulled out back in because it still is a good bottom end. I thought it was a bad bottom end. Ended up being the Y7 head needing valve lash adjustment. It sounded like a knock, I swear it did. But it ended up just being valve lash. So I'm going to put the Y7 head and block back in while we build the D15 B7. They don't really weigh that much, they're just awkward to hold. There it is. It's out. Wasn't very hard. Didn't scratch the engine bay up. Pretty simple whenever they're the D15s. D16s do weigh just a little bit more, but it's to be expected. But yeah, I'll be getting the D16 Y7 that was originally in here, putting it back in. Probably just be putting the Y7 back in and calling it good for now. And I'll build this one as long as it's not damaged too bad. So far, I don't see any damage unless there's like a sleeves cracked or something and it's on the lower side and I just can't see it. I don't know. We'll find out whenever I tear it apart. I really like this little gazebo, paint booth, party, whatever you want to call this thing. It was like 80 bucks on eBay. It's really cool. And it's raining right now, so it's keeping the rain out for the most part. A little water coming in because it's not sealed all the way around, but works pretty good. But yeah, this is the one that was originally in the car that I thought had a rod knock. Well, I inspected everything in the bottom end and it all looked good. It ended up being the cylinder head had a very bad valve lash that made it sound like a knocking noise. So this will be going back in, and I will be running on this until I build this D15 V7, which I'm going to be putting forged internals, boring it over to 75.5 millimeters, and putting forged rods and pistons. So I'm going to go ahead and put the flywheel on here on the Y7, put the oil line in right here, and I have to take a part off of the oil pan on that, so I have to drop the oil pan, so I'm going to just put that on the engine stand. But basically going to swap all those things over so that it'll be ready to just drop back in. Doing the clutch, you always want to make sure this slides in and out freely. That way it stabs to the transmission really well. But now that that's done, I'm going to go ahead and run the oil distribution where the oil pressure sensor goes on the back of the block. That way everything's ready for me to basically just drop it back in. Okay, in case you didn't know, a 24 millimeter fits on here. You just want to make sure it's a little bit deeper so that way that you can actually get a tool on it, like a ratchet or something. Comes right out. Well, now this is pretty much ready to drop back in the car. Well, now this is pretty much ready to drop right back in the car. I still have to put the timing cover and timing belt on, which is super easy to do. And I have to take the oil drain for the turbo and put it back on the front of this oil pan, which I'll do that when it's in the car because I have to put the other engine on the engine stand. So I'm going to go ahead and get the other engine and put it on the engine stand. Now I need to drain the oil out. They actually make a special drain pan that goes on these. I need to get one because it'd make it so much easier. But I need to pull this drain plug out. Since I welded these nuts on the inside of this oil pan, I should just be able to unbolt the 10 millimeters. But that one right there, I'll have to drop the oil pan because I haven't welded the nuts in it yet. But I'll do that once it's in the car. But yeah, basically just going to drop this. We will pull the rods and pistons out and see exactly what the damage is. Alright, so I'm going to start with cylinder 1 right here. Just basically going to undo the 12 millimeter bolts that hold the connecting rod together. Then I'm going to push the rod and piston down and grab it from the bottom. Thing didn't knock and the bearings are fairly okay. They look decent, so definitely no rod knock there. As you can see right here, the piston rings, both of the rings have this gap open. That would allow oil to shoot right past it and go right to the top of the piston. So that would actually lower compression and drop it. That's exactly how it came out. The oil ring gap's here. So these need to be staggered when you build an engine. They need to be one here, one here, one here, and one here so that no oil gets by. But overall, it looks pretty decent. So we're gonna move to the next one. Bearing looks good too. Alright, looks like I found my issue. It's kind of hard to see. Let me get it focused here. You see that crack right there in the ringland? That would cause our issue. We were having low compression and it wouldn't start. I'm going to make sure there's not more than that one. Yeah, it's definitely busted. Check it out. It's in 2 spots. Completely broke the ringland. Alright, you can see that it completely separated this top upper compression ringland and then the second one. So I was definitely right on the low compression being most likely a piston ring or something like that. Let's see if any of the others look like this. Okay, so it's cracked right here on the oil ring, which would make sense because it smoked like crazy. And it is cracked up here on the compression ring. So that would explain the low compression and the smoking that it had. So yeah, 200,000 miles on this engine, and it does not like boost with 200,000 miles. So I had a feeling it would happen, to be honest. I was prepared for it. But yeah, so we're just gonna have to make sure that tune's spot on. Alright, so the bearing on the cylinder 4 looks pretty good, the journal looks pretty good, and the rod part looks pretty good. So we're going to check and see the piston. Alright, as you can see right here, the ringland is cracked on the oil ring and compression ring as well. That's the only spot I'm seeing on this piston. The rod bearings and the crankshaft itself look really good, so we got very lucky with this. We're lucky we didn't blow a hole through it. I had a feeling it would happen though, 200,000 miles, but basically it's getting forged rods, forged pistons, pouring the cylinders over, and it's going to get ACL bearings and stuff like that. So really excited to put all this together. Of course I don't have money at this exact time. Now we know exactly what's done to it. Damage isn't very much, so we got very lucky with this. Now I don't recommend you put a turbo on a 200,000 mile engine and turn the boost up. Now my tune had probably a little to do with it. It did lean out in one spot, but I didn't have the 4-bar map sensor and it boost spiked above 11.9 pounds. That's where it boost spiked to. It's supposed to boost cut at 9.9, but this little turbo built boost too quick. So it's my fault, but it's not a big deal. I just wanted to show you guys the damage. So yeah, that's basically it for the B7 bottom end. We're gonna rebuild that when I get the money. I'm gonna try to get most of the stuff next paycheck, if not all of it. I will have to send it to a machine shop for them to do all the other work, which I won't have video of, but I'm basically just going to send it to a machine shop. They're going to polish the crank for us and do the boring and honing of the cylinders. Everything else will be done by me. I'm going to clean it, use pressure washer and Purple Power, works really good. But yeah, so I have a lot of work cut out for me in the future, so that'll give you guys more content to watch. As for the D16Y7, I'm going to put that engine in after it stops raining. It's been raining for like 3 days here in Coppers Cove, Texas. But yeah, it's not a big deal. Just throw that in. Whenever I get the new GT30 twin scroll turbo, I will have video of all of that. So definitely stay tuned. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Gave you guys something to watch. Me screwing up gives you guys content. So it's all good. Not a big deal. You just want to make sure everything's done to your engine and that it's a reliable engine prior to turboing, and make sure the tuner is really good. I can only get them close. I'm not a pro tuner or anything, so I just did the best I could with what I had. So I'll be definitely getting a better base map tune. I'm gonna maybe see if PFI will send a base map and data log it and all that, and see if they'll remote tune it, because he's really good at tuning. So Definitely stay tuned to the channel, guys. If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think of the B7 getting forged internals, because I find that exciting. But I'll see you guys in the next video, so definitely stay tuned to my Instagram and here on the channel. So I'll see you then. God bless.